Hi BookTube, I'm here with my 3-in-1 book reviews. Okay, so I blazed through these 3 books quite fast and figured I'd just review them all at once since there's not too much I want to say about all of them. The 3 books I am reviewing are 2001: A Space Odyssey by Arthur C. Clarke, Make Room by Harry Harrison, and Starship Troopers by Robert A. Heinlein. So 2001: A Space Odyssey, and you probably know it because of the film by Stanley Kubrick. So what you may not realize is that the book and the movie were written together by both Arthur C. Clarke and Stanley Kubrick. Clarke would see something that Kubrick did in the movie and be like, oh, you know, that's a good idea for the book. Or Kubrick would talk to Clarke about what was going on and he'd add that to his movie or take it away from his movie. Basic summary, we have 3 distinct parts in the novel. So the first part is 3 million years in the past, where we meet Moonwatcher and his tribe of 8 men, and they're our predecessors. They're, you know, still not very intelligent, aren't using tools, kind of thing. And then this black alien thing comes down to Earth and starts messing with their minds. The second part takes place in 1999, and we're following Heywood Floyd as he's traveling from Earth to a space station to the moon because there's something going on the moon. People think there's an outbreak of some sort, but he's going there to find out what it is. The third plot line here is Poole, Bowman, and HAL 9000, an artificial intelligence robot, have left from Earth to go on a journey to where they think is Jupiter, but they're actually going past Jupiter to Saturn when things start to go wrong. So what I really liked about this book is that the science is excellent. There were parts where I couldn't believe some of the things he was saying, so I looked them up and they're actually true. One thing that I guess kind of seems kind of minor but really astounded me was the fact that Saturn's rings aren't going to last forever. It's eventually going to disappear. He sometimes dedicates whole chapters to ideas. So he presents different theories of what aliens are going to look like, how they evolve, whether they're going to be look like humans or whether they're going to not have any bodies at all but just be one with Earth and space-time and everything. And different views on artificial intelligence and all the same. So it's really a novel that gets you thinking. So not only are you given all this scientific information, you're also given the ethics of it, and you're not told one way or the other. It's just, here's the differing opinions, decide for yourself. I think that he really excels at descriptions. There's one part where the spaceship is going past Jupiter, and you don't only get the description of what it looks like, which is astounding at the time in 1968, but you also get the description of what it sounds like. And I think that's really cool and really important. So overall, I believe I gave 2001: A Space Odyssey 5 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is Make Room by Harry Harrison. This may not sound familiar, but when I tell you that the movie is called Soylent Green, that should set off a few lights. I want to talk about movies and books in a separate video, but let me just tell you that there is no Soylent Green in the book. Okay, so this takes place in the future with a world that is vastly overpopulated, and this leads to shortages of food and water, high crime rates. Almost everyone, including those with jobs, are living off welfare. It is problematic in every sense of the word. So we follow Andy Rush, who is a police detective, and he's trying to solve a murder. This is extraordinary because most times murders are not investigated. They are kind of filed away and forgotten about. But because this kind of affluent gangster gets murdered, he has to actually discover what's going on. We also follow the murderer and a girl named Shirl, and I think that's very important because you get to see the different class systems. So Shirl is a high-class gal that is kind of like a concubine for the gangster that was murdered. She lives in an air-conditioned apartment, which is really important because it is really, really hot in this world. She doesn't have to worry about water. She actually buys real meat and everything. Then we follow Andy Rush, who I said is a police detective, so he's kind of like middle class. He has his own place, but he has a roommate. So a murderer, Billy Chung, is from the lower class, and he's living in shipping crates that have been modeled into apartments with his family. They have one bed, and he really has to kind of resort to a life of crime so that he can afford to eat and to drink and to live, basically. So there's not much to say science-wise. There's nothing really new in the book, really. They don't eat a lot of real meat. They eat a lot of soy-based meat, and it's not made from people. It's made from soy. I read it really quickly. I enjoyed it, but it doesn't really stand out to me. Because I admit I was going into it expecting this big expose on Soylent Green as people. And I was kind of let down in that aspect, but I still really enjoyed the story anyway, so I give it 4 out of 5 stars. My third and last review is on Starship Troopers by Robert Heinlein, published in 1959. This is considered a classic of the military science fiction genre. So I enjoyed the first half of the book, because I figured all the philosophy and the science and the schooling was just necessary to kind of get us into the mindset and understand the action that I thought would happen in the second half of the book. But just when the action was about to pick up, when the main character, Johnny Ricos, is about to, set off to the bug planet to engage in military action, he's like, oh, you know what, I think I'll go back to school. And everything that happens in the first book happens again in the second book, but more extreme. So you get more philosophy, you get more ideology, and it's just all what they could say in like a paragraph. They take 2 or 3 pages at times to say, and it's just, you get inundated and bombarded. It's like your mind's being attacked, and not very pleasantly. So it's been 10 years since I've gotten this far in a book and decided, no, I can't finish it. I skimmed through it trying to find some more action, and it was just more talking, and so I was like, I give up. So there's absolutely no plot in this book. It starts out promising. The first chapter is him actually engaging in military action against these guys called the Skinnies. And then it's a flashback to school. I really found it was just a soapbox for Heinlein to praise the military, and there's no room for disagreement. Those who disagree in the novel are either killed off or are, not given any rights. So he proposes this idea in the novel that there's civilians, there's military, and there's citizens. In order to become a citizen and have the right to vote and go into public office, and have all these other different rights, you have to have joined the military and done at least a 2-year term. Otherwise, you're just a civilian who just happens to have the privilege of living under these veterans and military people. And I can't really say anything positive about characterization because there is none. Philosophy-wise, I disagreed a lot with what Heyman has to say, and as I said before, he doesn't let you have any disagreement. He's unrelenting in his, I'm right, I'm superior, blah 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 blah. Violence is the only way to make sure kids don't become criminals. It's the only reason that they do become criminals, and oh, I was just like, dude, like, you're so ignorant, and oh. I want to make it clear that I am okay with my own philosophies and my own opinions being challenged, but I believe in books that there should be that one voice that speaks up and challenges it and is not immediately killed off or just changes their opinion for no reason. I thought he was just kind of like ramming his philosophy down my throat and wouldn't let any dissent come from either the reader or characters in the book. But I could go on and on about how much I hated it, and I don't want to bore you like the book bored me, so I'll tell you I did give this book 1 out of 5 stars because I couldn't rate it a 0, wouldn't let me. So that's my 3-in-1 review. Let me know down below if you've ever hated a book and what book it was and why you hated it. And remember to keep on reading. Unless it's a really bad book, then stop.